Welcome back to the course. This is Introduction to Human-Computer Interaction. This is week number 11. And my goal for this week is to finish some small topics and then wrap the course up. And I hope you're enjoying the course. I can see a lot of people talking about the exam, the syllabus, the kind of questions on the mailing list. I assume you're preparing for the final exam. And I'm sure most of you will do very well. While collecting data, you could actually collect data. Two different types of data could be collected. One is the process data, one is the bottom line data. Process data is nothing but what users do and what users think is the process data. Bottom line data is the one which actually measures time, errors, success, false positives and false negatives that we have talked about, how much time it is taking for users to do something. All of this is bottom line data. Dependent variables are the ones that it's influenced by the independent variables. For example, dependent variable could be whether I'm going to go to office today, and independent variables could be my health, weather outside, the job that I have in my office, and independent variables like that. So knowing what kind of data to collect is actually important, and knowing how to collect this data is what we have been seeing for some time in this course. Always focus on process data. Process data will allow you to basically get, so process data is nothing but the data about what users are doing and thinking. Gives good overview of where the problems are. Bottom line data doesn't tell you where to fix because it's more of the, so to say, quantitative versus qualitative. And it's also hard to get reliable bottom line results using the quantitative data, because you need almost always need large amount of data to do anything statistically significant. So this slide we have seen in the past. The reason why the slide is back here is that it is actually looking at the two different types of study designs that one could have between groups and within groups. Between groups is the one where two groups of test users are kept, and each users get one of the system. For example, I'm building a new application for like Microsoft Word. I'll give Microsoft Word to one group and another group to get the app that I am building. Within groups is a set where I have one large group where both the solutions that are there is given to all the users. Now I'm sure you can understand the positives and negatives of each of these study design, right? So discount usability. And so basically what we're trying to do is studying different ways of usability engineering, right? We'll talk about actually a few other methods by which usability engineering could be done. Here are different examples of discount usability. Discount usability is basically ideas by which we are actually doing the usability testing. So what are the things that we have already seen? We have already seen low fidelity prototyping, heuristic evaluation we'll see, online remote usability tests, we have seen that, walkthroughs also we have seen. So one particular kind of usability evaluation is called GOMS, which we'll actually go through in detail now. That's the topic that I wanted to introduce you in the week number 11. So until now, all evaluations that you did, you basically went to the end users and asked the end users to give you feedback. What we're going to do now in GOMS is it's not going to be the end users, but it's going to be an expert, so to say. Here, the goal is to find out about the time taken for doing a particular task. So GOMS stands for goals, operators, methods, and selection. Input is the detailed description of the UI task. Output is a quantitative time measure. So essentially, GOMS is useful to study the quantitative time measures that takes for doing a particular task. So this slide is basically showing you different ways in which different operators that one could use to make a decision against reaching the goal. The starting point is something, selection, a method, operators, and the final goal. So the way the GOMS works is, if there are multiple methods to make a choice, how you end up making a choice and how quickly can you actually finish a task. So let me show you some examples of what the GOMS is. So here Goal is going from hotel to the airport. Operators are locate the bus stop, wait for the bus, get on the bus. Methods is walk, take bus, take taxi, rent a car, take train, walk, whatever the methods are. You as a user would, as an expert, so to say, in a given situation, would choose a different method, keeping a different metric. For example, walking is cheaper, but tiring and slow. Taking a bus is complicated abroad, right? So if this was a situation that you're making a decision in Germany, it's probably a little harder or complicated to find out what the route is, what the bus is. So therefore, the decision making has to keep all this criteria in mind. So the simple way is add up time from operators. So for example, all the operators here in the slide, A1, A2, A3, and assume experts master the task, error-free behavior, because experts are experts, so they're not supposed to be making mistakes, and absolute accuracy should be 10 to 20%. So using GOMS output, ensure frequent goals achieved quickly. So the primary goal for this whole idea of GOMS is that you're going to find out how a user can actually do a task that is so repetitive, how much time does it take, and how can you actually do a better job in terms of actually designing that. Right? That's what it says. If you want to make sure that a highly repetitive task is done as quickly as possible, use GOMS. Making a hierarchy also of value. Right, so you can even ask these questions when the expert is doing it. These kind of questions definitely will pop up. Does UI contain needed functions? Are similar tasks performed similarly? In what order are the individual operations done? All of these questions, all of these things you'll be able to observe when the expert is done with the GOMS. So that's about the GOMS. So it is, in summary, GOMS is about experts trying to use the system and giving feedback, and particularly the point that we are trying to study through GOMS is actually the time taken to finish a task. So it's generally a goal-oriented evaluation. So what are the advantages of using GOMS? It gives a quantitative measure. Basically, this is the first time, at least in the evaluation, if you remember, we are actually talking about time taken to finish something. Until now, you've always been asking users about the features, colors, design, everything like that. So in some cases, the GOMS could be less work than the user study. User study, you have to meet a lot of people. Experts anyway, the number of experts that you're going to get is very low to collect data from. Easy to modify when UI is revised, so you should be able to get the UI changed, keeping the inputs from the experts. The disadvantages are that it takes a lot of time, right? Because for you to become an expert, for somebody to become an expert to give inputs, it is not going to be easy. And as I said before, it's a very, very goal-oriented task, meaning in some sense you can actually define everything as a goal, right? Going from here to the airport is a goal. Finding the function to do a particular activity is probably a goal. Finding a way by which to book a Uber app, Uber cab to go to the airport is probably a goal. Right? So everything you can define it as a goal. So goal-oriented tasks is what generally is done through GOMS. And there is an assumption here that experts don't make mistakes, which may not be completely true. So the last type of evaluation that we look at is called heuristic evaluation. Until now, all the evaluation that we saw was that you're showing the interface to the user, you're showing your solution to the user, experts, they're giving you inputs, but you're not asking them to give input on a particular, say, in this case, heuristic, right? Heuristics are nothing but a list of ways for which the users are going to give you feedback on. So this will get into details of every functionality that you have provided, every interface elements that you have provided, and the users are giving you feedback on that. So the heuristics could be very, very specific to a particular given interface also. Inspects various dialog elements, compares with the list of usability principles. Next slide and a couple of slides, I'll show you what are the different usability principles that you can actually present to the users. Consider the other principles results that come to mind that the users can actually give you feedback on. So here are the list of heuristics. H111, simple and natural dialogue. H12, speak the user's language. H14, consistency. So there are multiple specifics that the user can look at and give you inputs on saying, okay, H17 shortcuts. There is no shortcuts in your application to do A, B, and C. There is no documentation presented in your app, which is help and documentation. So there are multiple heuristics like this. So this is the one that I'm showing you, H1.1. There's also H2.1, and there's like HK or something like that in total. The number of heuristics, the list of heuristics that you could provide, right? Visibility of system status, error prevention, aesthetics and minimalistic design, right? So all of these becomes the list on which the users are providing you input, not on every aspect that they think about. So that's the difference between other types of user evaluation. Let me go back to the slide. This is the slide which gives you a list of usability engineering also, right? Low fidelity, GOMS, online and remote usability, walkthroughs. All of this, the users are generally giving you feedback, whereas in the heuristic evaluation, they're giving you specific inputs on the heuristics that is provided to them. That's about it. So one other clarification that we wanted to make is that Gestalt principle is another way of expressing visual design. So this, I think, comes up in some aspects of the slides. So I thought I'll make the clarification saying visual design is also represented or mentioned by Gestalt principle. Okay. Okay, with that we come to the end of the course. So I assume you enjoyed taking the course. So I assume you learned some new concepts that you did not know before. And of course, these kind of online mode of teaching, mode of learning has its own limitations. So you cannot expect a lot of things to be covered by the instructor, or I cannot expect a lot of things for you to have achieved by taking this course. For this online, if you know some words, if you know the ways to do it, I think that you should treat that as a success. If you know the terms, if you know some design patterns, if you know some of the ways to evaluate your prototype. So basically, design, build, and evaluate. Those are the three pillars that we said is part of the class, right? So if you've learned some aspects of each of it, I think you should treat it as success. And I know many of you are taking the exams. Good luck with the exam. As we said, it's all going to be MCQ questions. Good luck with the exams, and good luck with everything that you're doing in future in life in generally itself. And also, it's been an interesting experience for me to teach this class, because I've been meeting people in the last 10 weeks also who are taking this class and telling me that they're getting this inputs and that inputs, and they're getting this new interesting way of thinking about design and products. And I hope also to see some of you in person at some point in life, some point in time. And if you are in Delhi, or if you are somehow in Delhi on Thursday, which is the 19th of April, please swing by IIIT Delhi. The course that I'm teaching here in campus, the same course, Designing Human-Centered Systems, has about 114 students and about 20 projects in the class. So they will all showcase the project on 19th. So it will be nice for you to come see how the students have done the projects. I will also post the link to the link of the Facebook event in the course mailing list. Good luck, have fun, continue learning.